How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. We have to talk about Solana. Solana's racing up. I've been saying for a while, you can go back through videos, I've been saying for a while that I think Solana is going to do really well because it's been lagging Ethereum, and well, Ethereum's finally having its day with all these treasury companies. I think once we go more risk on, once the market goes more risk on, they'll look at Solana as really the place where a lot of tokenization is going to happen, a lot of quick transactions. Sure, Ethereum will be used as well, but Ethereum is also priced much higher than Solana right now. And what do you know? Solana's up like 6.4% today. It has been one of the best performers over the last couple of weeks. It's up to $240. It is getting closer to all-time highs. We'll talk about that along with Bitcoin and Ethereum. We'll be watching what Tom Lee just said an hour ago. Galaxy CEO Mike Novogratz, billionaire investor, what he says about the market right now, what he says about Solana. We have some interesting news from the SEC, from BlackRock, from the NASDAQ. Let's go through all of it. If you don't mind, hit subscribe underneath the video so you can see future videos just like this. If you want to trade crypto, I've been saying this for a long time. You can trade underneath the video at BYDFi. You can start trading in just a few minutes. And we have a special deposit bonus going on right now. Depending on how much you deposit, you can get anywhere up to a 50% deposit bonus. This is going for about 10 more days. You might as well sign up and do this now because we're going to open up more trading competitions in the future. We just gave away $30,000. A lot of it was to random people too. So some people didn't even have to trade that much and they could get $302, I think was the random amount that people were getting. But some people got up to $7,500 directly deposited into their spot account. Now, Bitcoin's looking good, $115,000. Keep in mind the traditional market, last time I looked, was about sideways. And yeah, it's about the same today, right now. The NASDAQ's up slightly. The S&P 500's just down slightly. But overall, crypto's doing well. The market's doing well. The S&P 500 and the NASDAQ hit all-time highs yesterday. Bitcoin back at 115,000. Solana racing up to 240. And I thought it was time to talk about Solana today because it has been just exploding recently, right? It chopped higher, higher lows, higher highs, and then just broke out to 241. If we go over to USDT here, you'll be able to see Solana, the historical price chart a little bit longer, but it's doing really well. We have Ethereum doing fairly well too, up at nearly 4,600, which is getting close to where it was at its peak just recently. The ETF saw some inflows yesterday. Bitcoin saw a large inflow, 553 million, most of that coming from BlackRock. It had a $366 million day. The ETH ETFs also saw an inflow. We saw $113 million going to the ETFs there. Mike Alfred gives a pretty good summation of my current thoughts. Liquidity is about to spike. The dollar is about to drop. Yields are falling back. Small caps are breaking out. Bitcoin is turning up. AI is taking over everything. And you're bearish on asset markets? Really? Are you stupid or just playing dumb for engagement? There are some people that are very bearish right now, but I don't necessarily see why. The economy is in a very good spot. Company earnings are in a fantastic spot. We're actually going to see Fed rate cuts, which brings more money into risk on markets. Of course, there's always a level of caution you should have, right? Even if markets are looking really good, there's always something in the back of your mind like, hey, just be careful, don't get too greedy. But I think a lot of people are feeling that, like more than ever. Back in 2020, 2021, there are a lot of new investors that thought we're never going to see a dip. And I don't get that sentiment right now. I think a lot of people are still a little bit cautious, and yet we're hitting all-time highs. And the runway, what we're seeing in front of us, looks really bullish. This is also supposed to be the best quarter for crypto out of the 4-year cycle. The SEC unveiled Project Crypto, an initiative to modernize regulations to allow U.S. financial markets to move on-chain using blockchain technology. This was a few months ago. The NASDAQ just came out and said that they want to push the launch of trading tokenized securities. With BlackRock just yesterday exploring launching tradable ETF tokens on the blockchain. We have the NASDAQ, BlackRock, the SEC, all wanting to bring financial markets on-chain. You're telling me you're not bullish on crypto when every single large traditional player wants to bring these assets on the blockchain? That's crazy to me. Right? We're going to see such an explosion of growth on-chain. Now that brings me to Solana. Solana just reached a new all-time high in TVL, surpassing $12 billion. Circle just minted another 500 million USDC on Solana today, bringing up a total of 1.75 billion USDC minted so far this month on Solana. Galaxy Digital bought another 707,000 Solana worth $160 million, bringing their total to 2.16 million Solana worth $486 million acquired in the last 24 hours. That's insane. Today, Forward Industries closed a $1.65 billion pipe, and this is all pretty much going to Solana. There's these Solana treasury companies now that are buying up Solana at a very quick rate, not quite as quick as MicroStrategy was at its peak or Bitmine is doing with Ethereum, but also Solana is a much smaller asset. If we look at CoinMarketCap, Solana is fifth in terms of market cap, 130 billion in market cap. It's less than 1/4 the size of Ethereum. So when someone goes and buys $160 million worth of Solana, that's the equivalent of $700 million in Ethereum. When you compare it to Bitcoin, it's almost 1/20th the size. It's just past 1/20th the size. So someone going out and buying $100 million of Solana is the equivalent of someone buying $2 billion worth of Bitcoin. So we don't need the treasuries to buy quite as much as they do for Ethereum or Bitcoin. It's going to move the price pretty quickly. And there are also a lot of people that will be coming into the markets if we see crypto hit all-time highs and we continue to see a bull run. If we see what we typically see in a bull run, prices getting very quick, very fast, there will be new people coming into the market. And if they're trying to buy assets that are going to be very volatile, if they're trying to buy like meme coins or gaming coins or anything like that, or do anything on chain, it would make sense to go through Solana, to buy Solana for that. It's very quick, it's very cheap, and it's still pretty far away from its all-time high, 18%, compared to Ethereum at 8, compared to Bitcoin at 7. You know, I think we could see it continue to move up pretty quickly. Now, Mike Novogratz just gave his thoughts on this. He just spoke on CNBC yesterday. Let me play this for you.
Right, we're just getting started. You know, think about this company Ford that we just Ford Industries, you know, a ticker Ford that we're launching. That's $1.65 billion that came in. That's new money dollars into the crypto space. Right, this is a Solana. You know, why Solana at this moment? Total transactions per second Solana can do in a day is 14 billion. That's more than total transactions on equities, fixed income, commodities, and foreign exchange, right? And so you've got a blockchain that's now fast enough, tailor-made to be the blockchain for financial markets. And you got an SEC chair saying, I want you to build on chain. And so those two things are lining up. I'm calling this the season of Sol. Right behind us, you've got Dan Moorhead, who's coming with a Sol fund, a Sol treasury company, and then you've got two ETFs coming right after that. And so that money pouring into Solana ecosystem right now because people see that as a potential winner in the financial market space, the blockchain.
But if Solana, this is the thing that I'm trying to figure out.
So that's something that I didn't even talk about. When staking is available, these ETFs are going to blow up in size in my mind. I think they could double in a pretty quick time period. Keep in mind, there is a lot of capital that wants to flow into these right away, and then it slowly kind of trickles in after that. But once we see staking, I think that will unlock a lot of capital. A lot of people that want to get on or to buy a risk on asset, but also want staking rewards, want some kind of like dividend or drip back into itself. I'm not even sure how they would work exactly, to be honest. A lot of these types of ETFs that have some kind of dividend in traditional markets pay the dividend. But with something like this, I'm not sure. Will they just pay you a 2% dividend, 3% dividend for holding the Solana ETF? That's very attractive to investors. That hasn't quite happened yet for the Ethereum ETF, But if we get that approved on the Ethereum ETF, and then the Solana ETF launches, even if it doesn't have staking right away, there will be a lot of people that are interested in buying it because it is much smaller than the Ethereum ETF. It's also quicker. People will understand that it's like a slightly higher beta bet on crypto. So I think we could see huge inflows into the ETFs once Solana launches. Let's watch what Tom Lee just said. He just went on CNBC just a few minutes ago.
Just really quickly, Tom, what do you make of the pullback in futures? Again, all three indices hit record highs. It's a very slight pullback, but what do you think the catalyst is for the pullback this morning?
Well, I think it's normal to expect some profit taking. I mean, we just made all-time highs.
It's crazy that they're asking about this pullback because it's literally nothing. Like, we're mixed for the day. There's an indice that's down 0.3%, an indice that's up 0.3%, and one that's zero. So like it's crazy when I hear people saying, what's the reason we're not going up again today after the last 5 days when we've hit all-time highs or whatever it was.
And, it is the weekend, but to me, we know that since April 2025, any of these pullbacks have been really shallow. And, next week we know that there's something very important to watch. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to be hesitant, but we know that ultimately it's a good thing when the Fed cuts.
We have a lot of people in general that are concerned about over-concentration in the market. Ironically enough, we had a guest on earlier, Julia Herman from New York Life, that was saying that concentration was a good thing. But the valuation of this market's been a concern for a lot of people. But your word of the day is undervalued. What's undervalued right now?
Frank, I think Oracle surging 41% after they report earnings tells me that AI is an undervalued sector, because how else do you explain a stock that is as large as Oracle gaining as much as it is unless it shows investors are really underestimating the future growth of AI?
Just to be clear, what's undervalued? Are we talking about the chip sector? Are we talking about software? Are we talking about the hyperscalers? Are we talking about the Mag 7? Or is it everything in your mind?
Well, I wouldn't want to be too specific because, AI is still a 5 or 10 year story. And so I wouldn't want to be trying to drill this down into a really narrow set. I think AI as a theme is continually underestimated because I think a lot of people think this is money being spent without return. Oracle is showing you that there's a lot of future growth.
So with that in mind, Tom, your pick for us today is the IWM ETF, a small cap ETF. If AI is undervalued, why aren't you saying your pick for us today is a Palantir, an Oracle, a Vistra that helps power some of these data centers? Why are you going to the small caps?
Well, a couple of reasons. First of all, Frank, it's because exactly as I said, I wouldn't want to try to pick a slice of AI to talk about being undervalued. But if we think AI is undervalued, what's even more undervalued is small caps, because that's been held at bay because the Fed has not been cutting rates. Fed's been on hold all year. And for the first time since last year, the Fed is cutting in September. A September cut after a pause has only happened in 1998 and 2024, and both times were good periods for small cap stocks.
So a question to you, though. The same weakness in the economy and the job market that's leading the Fed to cut, doesn't that directly impact small caps?
Well, I think that we want to not be oversimplistic in thinking about this. Number one, what is the Fed going to try to accomplish by cutting, especially if they're worried about the employment market weakening? They want to get the ISM to actually go back above 50. They want corporates to start hiring. They want businesses to be confident. So this rate cut is not just a symbolic cutting of interest rates for mortgages. It is really an attempt by the Fed to get the economy to grow again, to actually increase the job market. That's really bullish for small caps.
Now, I looked at a small cap index. I was considering investing a while ago. And honestly, these are not the kinds of assets I want to hold. When I dug into the top 10 holdings, they're not quite as concentrated as something like the NASDAQ or the S&P 500. But a lot of the companies were unprofitable, or at least not growing. Like maybe they're profitable and they're just kind of zombie companies with the same profitability each year, or some years they're up, some years they're down, up, down, then some are just unprofitable. And that's very different from the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ. Yeah, they might be a little bit cheaper. They might be decent trading vehicles for sentiment on the Fed and money supply. But honestly, the companies that are in them weren't that attractive to me. I want some of the top tech companies that are growing 10 to 20% a year. They're extremely profitable, huge balance sheets, are going to dominate in the future. Let me know your thoughts on that, though, underneath the video. The Fed is most likely going to cut by 25 basis points at the next meeting. And then again, there's an 84% chance that we see another rate cut. And then there's a really good chance that we see a third rate cut in December. And then let's see, there is still a decent chance we see another one, 4 basis point cuts in a row in January. Of course, we have the Fed meeting in less than 1 week. I want to hear your thoughts on all that underneath the video. I think now's a great time to trade. Solana continues to move up, but with this momentum, it's still decently far away from all-time highs, right? 20%. If you want to trade this now, I love using low leverage, right? When you can get in, when we've seen a pullback, when no one else wants to buy. Like I did that recently with Bitcoin. When we fell down to 107,000, I didn't time it perfectly. I got in at 108.3. Now I'm up 40%. I've done this with Solana too. Like you don't have to time it perfectly, especially if you're using something less than like 7x leverage or less, and you can kind of just ride it out. We were actually talking about this in the whale chat this morning, which is part of the Telegram. You can join the Telegram, and then if you trade a decent amount, you can contact the person in the pinned comment, and then we can get you into the whale chat. We were talking about Solana and some trades we've been setting up recently. If you want to join the Telegram, it's free. It's underneath the video. I do post some exclusive videos over there. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. I'm actually gonna post about something that I'm doing right now. I was a little bit cautious to post it, but I am moving a lot of my investments over to a new broker, and I'm gonna get a huge bonus. I can talk you through that. It's actually kind of time sensitive because I think the last day that they're doing this is Monday. But there's a negotiation tactic you can use and you can get some free money. So I'm going to be talking about that in the Telegram today. Check it out underneath the video. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Check out BYDFi, BTCC, BitUniX, WEEX, BLOFIN, all underneath the video. I like using multiple platforms to trade. I'll see you in the next one.